Yeah, I know you fell in love with Tupac when you were young.
Yes.
What was the first song you remember hearing from Tupac?
Ambition as a writer. Ambition as a writer. Ambition as a
Hard.
writer. Yeah, it was the first track of first disc of this like 2 disc album, All Eyes on Me. So that's one. Yeah, that's what I first.
What did you like about Tupac?
At first, the song, the voice, and his energy, but then I started to like really like look into his interviews and all of his like documentary movies. It was his like hearts to give back, to his people, the people around him.
Right.
And that was really like the most attractive part of him.
Definitely. Once you heard that first song, did you just dive into the rest of his catalog?
Yeah, this album, All Eyes on Me. I just like that was on repeat forever.
That's funny. Is there any projects that you like from him?
Any other project?
Or any other artists that you fell in love with, whether it's from the US or Japan?
I like a lot of different when I was in Atlanta, of course, I liked all the down south music. When I was there, it was like Soulja Boy, Franchise Boys,
Oh, for sure.
Lil Jon, and 36 Mafias. So all of the down south
For
music
sure.
when I was living in Atlanta. La Chat.
That's
I
crazy.
used to
That was
listen
such
to
a
La Chat all
oh,
the
who is
time.
it?
La Chat. Yeah, so it was like
Oh,
really, really southern music. It was like I connected to it. I connected to their music because it felt like Okinawa. It felt I felt that southern hospitality. And it felt similar to my home.
definitely. First of all, I just want to talk about you relocating to Atlanta for college. How excited were you? What were you feeling? Because that's a big culture change.
Yeah. But I always wanted to like I don't know, like I grew up in Okinawa. Okinawa has a lot of military bases. Like a lot.
Right.
The little island like is like 20% of the whole island is like American soil. So it's like there's a lot of American people from all over the states, but in military and their families, like their wives and their kids and the people who work some base. So it was just all kinds of different people from America. So going to the States wasn't really like a big cultural changes for me. It was kind of like home, but bigger, like bigger scale. Everything was bigger. But so I always wanted to go to the States. It was just natural for me to like look up to that when I was like in
Right.
school. So when I graduated high school, I definitely like it was just natural for me to just go.
What did your parents think?
My parents just like was not like they gave up on trying to convince me to stay because I've been saying that for a long time. Like I'm going to America, I'm going to the States, I'm going to the States.
Right.
Because I didn't know, but I just felt like something is just there. Something you can only obtain in the States or in America, you know.
I'm dead. How did the community in Atlanta receive you? Obviously you're a pretty girl from Japan. How did they receive you?
Well, they thought I wasn't from I wasn't Japanese. They never believed. Like I was on a bus one day, and people start to talk to you, like, where you from? And I'm like, I'm from Japan. No, I first I'll say something like, I'm from Okinawa, and they were like, Okinawa, what's that? And somebody would say like, oh, I know Okinawa. I've heard of Okinawa. It's from Karate Kid, right? And something like that. And I'm like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, but you don't look Japanese. You don't look like, your face don't look Japanese. And I'm like, yeah, I'm from Japan. And some people would say like, yeah, right. You ain't from Japan. And some, like, people would say some stuff like that. People would think that people thought that I was Hawaiian. People thought I was like Latino. If I go to DMV, a lot of Latino people would come and talk to me in Spanish. But yeah, they didn't think I was Japanese. Never. Not even in the classroom, they didn't think I was Japanese. Maybe because
really,
they didn't think I was Japanese.
That's crazy.
Not even the teachers, because they had this stereotype of like what Japanese girl would act and speak, and I wasn't that, so they never thought I was Japanese.
So at that point, were you still rapping? Like, were you recording then?
Yeah, I was rapping. But not like, not really like in a major way. Like I wasn't really, I didn't know what to do with my music. So I would just do little things here and there. I would go to like a spoken word event and open mic. And just, do a poem, or poetry, and things like that. But I wasn't really like doing big things.
For sure. I know, you ended up meeting your ex-husband, right?
Yes.
How did you guys meet?
On the street. I was walking to the school. And he was driving. He was like, and stopped. And I was like, I said, what? And he was like, where you going? And I was like, I'm going to school. And he was like, man, fuck school. Let's go somewhere. And I was like, no, I gotta go to school. I gotta go to school. And he kept on like insisting. And I said, I gotta go to school. And he was like, you funny. You were really funny. You really want to go to school, huh? And I was like, I got to go to school. And he was like, because my school was far. Like, I had to take the bus and a train to go to school. And I was walking to the bus stop, and he was like, yo, I'll take you to school. I said, you lying. No. He was like, no, I'm serious. I'll take you to school. And I was like, man, I'll be found dead somewhere the next day. He was like, no, I'll take you to school. And so I just took a chance and got in a car. And he took me to school. And he took me to school every day after that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you guys start hanging out, or he just took you to school?
We started hanging out. Because we were like, because I was drawing like tattoo design at that time for like all my friends. And we were talking about that in the car, and then he was like, I need a tattoo design for like my, for my arms or my back or something. And I said, all right, so I draw you a design. And we start hanging out because he wanted to see my sketchbooks and shit like that. So,
aww, that's adorable. Did you end up Did those tattoo designs become real tattoos ever?
Not the ones that I designed for him, but I actually like tatted. Like I was like doing apprenticeship at a tattoo shop at Point in Atlanta. So I actually tatted my daughter's name in like Chinese character on his rib, like a huge
Oh wow.
tattoo. I tatted on his body, but he was mad because I didn't listen to him saying when it hurt. And I don't have no tattoo on my body. So he was like, yo, you don't know the pain. Like you shouldn't tattoo other people if you don't know the pain of being tatted. So I quit.
I'm dead.
But I was good.
Is there a reason? Is there a reason you didn't want to get tattooed?
I think, well, I never got around to get it. I'm just particular, I think. I just think a lot, and I haven't decided on what to get yet. So it's just, I might get it when I don't know. I might get it, I might not, but I don't know. I just, at this point, like, being a rapper and don't have no tattoo is even like rare. So I like being rare.
I feel you. You ended up how long into it were you seeing him until before you found out you were pregnant?
A year. 1 year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How was that moment? That's a very beautiful moment.
It was, but
how old were you?
I was 20.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was a beautiful moment, and it was not at the same time, because I had a record deal in Japan. And they were trying to like really, like really push me to be like this young female rapper / singer, fresh and all this. But at first I didn't want to stay in Japan, and so I just broke out and left to the States. Like, but they wanted me to stay, but I didn't listen to him. So, and then I ended up being pregnant, so they were really mad at me.
Wow.
So, we didn't finish our contract. Like, it was just like the end. The pregnancy was just the end of our contract.
Oh, wow.
It was like 13 years ago. At that time, women being pregnant wasn't like, it meant the end of your career. It's sad, but nobody really doubted. But right now, the time is a little different. Fortunately,
right.
Like women can like keep on working, continue with their career, being pregnant or not. So I'm glad that it's like that right now. But at that time, it wasn't. It was just, it meant the end of your career. So it was just done. So it was sad.
How was it?
It was sad and like also happy, because I was happy to have this baby. So it was mixed feelings.
Definitely. Real quick, how was it being signed to a label in Japan while you were in Atlanta? I'm sure that was difficult by itself. I'm sure they wanted you in Japan, no?
Yeah, they did. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they been wanting to sign me when I was in high school. So I was signed to them when I was like 18, 19, and they were like, they were ready to push me, like really work with me after the high school, like after I graduated high school. But then I didn't really, like, I was stubborn, really, really stubborn, and rebellious child. So I was like, I ain't gonna stay here. I'm not doing anything you're telling me to do. And I just left and go to the States but they were like working with me for a while. They're working with me for a while, like, like flying me back to do some gigs or to do some photo shoot or recordings, and then sending me back to the States and stuff like that. But then when I got pregnant, they're like, we can't with you no more.
That was
So
crazy.
I was a problem too. I admit it. I was a problem child.
How was your pregnancy? How was your journey becoming a mother?
It was physically, it was great. I felt really good, but mentally, um, I was a mess. I was depressed because nobody was really supporting me. Not even my parents. Like, they were against me, and all the
Oh
people who
wow.
supported my career was against me, and the my husband at the time was locked up.
Oh
Up until
no.
like 3 days before the birth, he was locked up. So I
Oh
was
my
just,
gosh.
yeah, I was by myself, literally. So it was
You
hard.
get you were in the delivery room by yourself?
No, he came out 3 days
Oh.
before. So like
Oh, okay, okay,
like
good.
he touched down right before the birth, but up until then I was by myself.
Wow.
He came home right,
Damn.
like
So,
just right on time.
I'm glad he made it.
I know, we were so happy. We were so happy.
Oh. Um, talk about just having a daughter. Did you always want a daughter? Were you hoping for a daughter or son?
I don't know. I thought it was a son for a long time. We thought it was a boy for a long time. And, just because of all this drama at the beginning of my pregnancy, I couldn't really do, like regular checkups because there was just so
Oh
much
wow.
drama. Like, but when I finally was able to get a good ultrasound, I was like 5 months, 6 months in already. So that's when I found out it was a girl. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
either way,
what was
if the baby was healthy, I was happy.
for sure? What was the drama?
The drama is like my parents telling me you can't have this baby, me having to
Oh
tell
wow.
my management that I'm pregnant, and they were like getting mad at me. And I was like, in Japan to do some gigs, and I have to tell them, you know what I mean? And then coming back, well, my parents not wanting to like send me back to the States no more. But I was just like, no, I gotta go. And I just got to the States, and to find out my husband was locked up, and just being depressed, and still having to go to school and like get the work done, because I really like, I was depressed, but schoolworks was somehow my therapy. Like, schoolworks was something that kept me like held me. I was holding on to kind of like tell myself I'm still like I still exist in this world.
Yeah, for sure. I know you got your bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship and marketing. What did you want to do with that?
I felt like if you know this knowledge, that like if you want to do whatever, like whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
whatever I decide to do um in the future, I can make that into my living. Like, I can make a living out of it. You know what I mean? And also, like, if it's helping me right now because I know the different parts of business. Like I know the different aspect. Like I study what parts consist, all the different parts that consist one project or a business, so I can appreciate all the people who are working for me. You know, for me to do this, to focus on what I do and what I can bring to the table. So that was really helpful.
Definitely. I want to talk about, I know, well, I'm so sorry to have to touch on this, but well, I wanted to ask first because, I have Asian parents. Was it difficult being in a biracial relationship and then obviously having a biracial daughter?
Um,
Like to your parents?
well, not really. Like if I was upfront about it, like I haven't, like if my husband was like not going in and out of jail, if it was like if he's not in trouble with the law, I don't think it would have been a problem. You know, my parents is really strict, but like it's understanding. But because I fell in love with a bad boy, that's the problem. That was the problem.
Right.
But being by
Was he
like
in the
having
street?
yeah, being in the street, that was the
Oh,
problem. But
sorry.
but having a biracial daughter is not hard at all. Like my experience is not, it's been really like delightful. And with all my family and my friends and with her school, like it's just really it's really it's really a great experience. Sometimes I have to teach, like teachers at school in like school system about being biracial or having like different cultural background. But that's like a eye-opening experience for them, and they appreciate me for like giving them the information. So it's been like great. It's been really great.